So let's get into this text, shall we? As I said last week, covenant is this churchy word for promises that is usually sealed with some sign. And so last week we explored God's covenant with Noah and with Bertha Violet. That was the name our children gave to Mrs. Noah, and to the whole of creation that was sealed with the rainbow. This week, God's covenant is now with Abram and Sarai, and it is both simple and odd. Simple because it's simply a promise of children, of descendants, of establishing this lasting presence, influence, and legacy upon the world. Oddly, this version that we're reading in chapter 17 of Genesis is not the first time that God makes this promise to Abram. Abram first appears in the biblical narrative as a descendant of one of Noah's sons, Shem, and he is living in a place called Haran, which is in what is now modern-day southern Turkey. He is married to Sarai, and they are childless. So God first meets Abram and tells the childless couple to leave Haran, up in Turkey, and settle further south in Canaan. God promised way back then that that their non-existent descendants would inherit this new land. From there, the story takes off. It's better than anything you can watch on Netflix. There are twists and turns that threaten the promise almost as soon as it's made. There's a famine. They become climate refugees for a time in Egypt, where Sarai is trafficked just to survive. Then there's war, the fateful fate of Lot and of Sodom and Gomorrah. And then God appears again to repeat the promise of descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and the sand on the ground. But still, there ain't no babies. So eventually, this couple takes matters into their own impatient hands, and they force an 86-year-old Abram onto a slave girl to produce the boy Ishmael, only to have Sarai abuse both this son and this mother to the point of desperation and flight from her oppression. This is where we pick up the story, reading Genesis 17.